Hey there and welcome to the Wix website tutorial for beginners. This is the third video in a 5-part series where I walk you through my process of building out a website in the new Wix Editor X Builder. In this video, we're going to be styling our sections and making sure our content looks good on popular screen sizes and devices. The process just consists of adding our breakpoints, tweaking out section layouts and elements for the different breakpoints, and styling our page by adding color, images, and white space. Alright, so first up is adding in our breakpoints. Click on the Customize Breakpoints menu button. We're going to delete the current breakpoints that exist. And now we're left with this one right here, and we're going to add our largest breakpoints and work our way down. So 1200, 1024, 768, and finally 375. We can close this menu out, and we can see here if we hover over it, we have our different breakpoint sizes listed on the rollover, and we're all set to move on to the next step. But first, let's save. Next, we're moving on to our navigation. So we're going to click here on our navigation. It's going to highlight. We're going to apply a new grid here, 4x1. That's 4 columns, 1 row. Make sure it's selected. Adjust grid, edit grid. Click into the first column. We're going to change this to 100 pixels, 100 px, and you hit enter. And the last column, 100 px, hit enter. We're going to resize this one to 0.5 fr. And all that does is just make this one smaller because our logo is going to go here, and it's doesn't need as much room than the menu does. Click done. Now we're going to go ahead and add in our logo. Hit the Add Elements button, Media, and in our uploads, just drag this in right here. I'm going to open the inspector panel, change this from a percentage to 75 px. Drag this into this column till it snaps in, and we're going to left align and align to middle. That's good there. We're going to go into our menu, design, and we have our 3 states: our regular, our hover, and our click states. First, in our regular, our background we want to remain white. Our border, we're going to change this color to our blue. And this color is one we're going to add. I'm going to add in it's 0, F9, 4, F6. Add. And we can close this. And you can see here the color popped up. Corners, we're going to add a 5 pixel radius. And that just rounds out the corners by 5 pixels. This link that's highlighted lets you know that all sides are going to be changed once you enter an input here. And if you unlink it, you can customize each one of these to their own individual number. We're not going to do that. We're going to go to text next. Click on color. We want this to be blue as well. And close that. Theme, it's going to be H5. And spacing, we're fine. On hover, we want the text to be white. We want our background to be blue. And our borders can remain 0. Ready to close that out. Save, preview, and we have our menu set up right there. Now we're going to want to make our mobile menu. So we're going to select the page, go here first, make sure our menu looks good. Tablet, our menu looks good. And here is where we lose some of our navigation. So we're going to go into our layers, the masterhead drop down, menu, options, don't display. So that's going to take effect on this screen size as well as this one. So here I'm going to then go to Add Elements, Menu, Hamburger Menus, and I'm just going to drag this in here like this. I do want to change one thing that I changed and it looks like I wasn't able to record which I'll show you now. Let's right align the middle, right align the middle. Then here you see, if you adjust the grid, edit grid, I changed this to 25 pixels. Forgot to change this one to 25 pixels for this viewport size. And all this is just adding some padding to the content and to the page, so all of our content fits nicely in this area here. I'm gonna click done, and we can click out of our master head, go here and see that our menu looks good there. Let's go into our menu now by opening menu. Here I want this to span the full width of the screen, so I'm going to open up our inspector panel. I'm going to change this width to 0 and the minimum width, viewport width, to 100. Then I'm going to select our menu. I'm going to change this to 100% as well. I'm going to go to the design tool, text, and I'm going to make this H5. I'm going to increase the size to 40. 40 is fine. And then for spacing, I'm going to increase the padding. Let me move this out of the way. Sorry about that. Increase the padding. And then I can close that. And then last, I'm going to align to the middle. Hit save, and let's preview. So if I hit this menu button, our menu opens up, and then we can click into a section. There should be an X right here. Must be a glitch. We'll work that out afterwards, but you can get out of there by clicking on a nav link. Next, we're going to want to go into our largest screen size by clicking here. Go into the layers panel. I'm going to go into my master head, hit the drop down, and make sure that my menu icon is hidden here in these larger viewports. And it is, and then you can see it switches to visible, and then the regular nav buttons become hidden in these last two. So that looks good. Let's go ahead and close that out. And now I'm going to just drag these handlebars and make sure that everything, so it looks like here might be a little tight. So what I'm going to do in this viewport right here, this one, I'm going to go in here, I'm going to adjust the grid. I'm going to change this to 50 pixels. Update this one to 50 pixels as well. And click done. Select my menu. I'm going to update this to 100%. Bring it all the way to the left. And let's see if that helps things out. And you'll see here you have these breakpoints for the master head. Just click out of that and you'll have your regular page breakpoints that we set up. And that looks good. It looks like everything worked out there. We're going to go into here, the master head, adjust the grid, edit grid, and then I want to go down here and add a 20 pixel gap to our columns. So you'll see here we have 20 pixels, and 20 pixels. Now let's go ahead, click out of there, and then we can check our different breakpoints to make sure everything still fits. And it looks like it does. Let's go ahead and resize using the handles, and a little tight there, but works out. All right, so that is our navigation. Now we're going to move on to our first section, our hero section, and we're going to adjust the grid. We're going to select it, click adjust grid, edit grid. We're going to add a column on this side, make it 100 pixels wide, just like we have in our header. Add a column on this side, make this 100 pixels wide. Click on done. And now we're going to add our background color next. Background color looks like, oh, there it is right there. We can close out of that, close out of that. Let's edit our font colors as well, so they're a little more visible on this background. That's better. And then here I'm going to unstack this because I want to add a container for these buttons. So under the quick adds, I'm going to just tap on container. I'm going to resize this to about the size of the buttons. Bring it over here. And I'm going to apply a grid to this, a 2x1, it's perfect. And I'm going to send this arrange, move, send to back. And that allows these buttons to be on top. And now that button is snapped in that column and this one and this one. And I'm going to also change the design by removing this 1 pixel border. I'm going to open the inspector panel, change this to 80% width, and the buttons to 80% width as well. Next, I'm going to select the first button, align it to the left, and align to middle. Next one, align to left and align to middle. And this content right here, 80% as well. And our heading, 80% as well. Next, I'm going to grab this container, grab this text and this heading. I'm going to left align it all. On this header, it looks like we have a set height. We do. We don't want that. Looks like it didn't save it. Let's zero it out. There we go. And now I'm going to select these two items, bring this up a little bit, and we're going to now stack them. Now that they're stacked, I'm going to align to the middle and then left align. Let's style these buttons now. The first one I'm going to make with a white background, no border. Corners are going to be 5 pixels, just like our navigation. No shadow. Text is going to be blue. And we're going to give it our H5. And that's good right there. On this one, it's going to be like an inverse. So the fill is going to be transparent. So let's bring that opacity down all the way. Border is going to be white. Border radius or corner radius, 5 pixels. Text, white. And this is going to be an H5 as well. What we didn't do was the hover state. So on hover, I want the background to be black. And on this one as well, we didn't do it. Hover, background, black. All right. Next, we're going to jump over to our form. In our form, we're going to remove some things first that we don't need. So we just need a first name and an email. This text right here. Let's make sure we reset changes. This is going to be an H3. That's better. This is center aligned. And let's adjust the background. I want this background to be customize design, form background, not the input fields. Background, I'm just going to bring the opacity down to maybe 50, 70, let's go 60% right in the middle of those two. Border radius, or excuse me, corner radius, 5 pixels. I can close that for now. I'm going to left align, bring to the middle, and now I just want to bring these guys just a little bit down there. And now we're going to edit these. Edit text. Make this white. And there we go, it's white. We're going to edit here. background is fine. The border we want to be white as well. That's that bottom border. You can see it's highlighted right there, 2 pixels. We're not going to touch the corners, and this is what I believe is the color of the text when it is highlighted and when it is regular. Oh, we forgot to go in here to paragraph 3. That's fine. Paragraph 1. That's better. Bold. Same thing here. Text. White. White. Paragraph 1. Bold. And oh, here we go. That's gonna be white. Okay. We have one more button here. And we want this to be white. Bring the opacity all the way up. Make it white. We have a border, no border, sorry about that. Corner radius of 5. Text is going to be blue. And it's going to be an H5. All right. Then if I select this right here, layouts, align the text to center. And then we could center this within here. This, going to customize it and bring the opacity, the form background opacity down a little bit more. That's better. Makes the white stand out. And here, the width says 5%, so it must not be. Let's do 100%. No, let's do 80. Okay, so that's reflecting that it's inside of here. This column, I'm going to left align to middle, and then a min height. I'm going to give this a min height of 200. No, maybe 300. 300 works better. And the thank you for submitting button. This is a thank you message that appears after you submit. We're going to make this a paragraph 1. And the color is going to be white. We can make it bold. All right, we're going to bring that down just a little bit. We're going to select our fields here. And I think that's good right there. All right, and last thing we want to do is center our content. So I'm going to go in here, align to middle, and the form, align to middle. And now we have our first section. Let's go ahead and check it for responsiveness. So it looks like this. There we go. And this has a set height as well. Let's change that. That's better. And let's go to the stack and adjust that height. There we go. And I'm gonna get rid of this height also. Should be on auto. Align this to the top of the container that's in. There we go. Align to the top. All right. Okay, now go to the stack. Align to middle. That's better now. Let's try to resize. So this again, I'm gonna bring this content up a little bit, maybe right there. And once again, make sure it's aligned all the way to the left. going to select on here, go to the breadcrumb stack, line middle. Let's go ahead and save this real quick. This should be don't show again. And okay, content's pushing down. All right, right here, I want to adjust this grid. Edit grid. For some reason, this is larger, even though it says 1FR. Let's put 1. Okay, let's resize this then to maybe 80%. Mid width 0. All right, so that's 100%. Okay, so the min width we had set to pixels instead of percentage, so that was making it larger than what it was supposed to be. It wasn't respecting the grid. So now we can bring this back to 1, and there we go. So let's go up here. We still have a min width here. Let's adjust the grid, edit grid. And actually, there we go. Let's zero that out, hit save, and now we should be good. There we go. Okay, so I'm thinking in here, we're going to adjust, see how we have 50 pixels here. Let's adjust this to have 50 pixels in this breakpoint. 50 pixels, 50 pixels. All right, gonna hit done. And it's still a little tight. So I think we're going to reduce the size here of this text. This right here is scale text. We'll cover that in another video. And let's select the stack and make sure that we are aligned to the middle. And select this stack, the form aligned to middle. Okay. And in here we're going to want to stack it vertically. So I'm going to go into just the grid, and we can stack it like this. However, it gets a little wonky. You can see here, it gave us 4, but I personally would just delete the grid. Oh, let's try that again. Adjust grid, delete grid, and then I'm going to apply a new grid, a 1x2. Now when I go to adjust the grid, edit grid, I have 1 and 2. So here, I'm just going to set a 500 pixel height, and here as well 500 pixels. This is going to change the auto, but just so that I can edit the content here, go to the stack, move it around, make sure it's inside of its column, and you can tell that because 90% is about the width of the content, and it leaves about 10% on either side combined. So 100% would be that. Let's leave it at 90, and I want to center this, and I'm going to add a 25 pixel border, I guess, or column on either side, on both sides. But let's change this to 90% as well. Adjust grid, edit grid, and let's add 25 pixels here. and 25 pixels here. All right. Now we're going to select the stack, open our inspector, align it to the center and to the left. And here, oh, this is, we never changed this to, yeah, let's update this as well to 25 pixels. And that's going to be for the bottom, the last two viewports. There we go. It's better. And this stack should be 90%. Yep, 90%. And we could bump it to 100. As well as this one right here, 100. And let's bring it to the top. And bring this one to the top as well. And we can add some padding to the top of this section. So padding, that's just gonna, this top padding, the top arrow, just gonna give a little breathing room there. Let's go 50 pixels. That should be more than enough. And looks good. Okay, now we can go ahead and remove our fixed heights. We're gonna try auto, and that should, good. And we're going to add auto on this one as well. And what we didn't add was our 20 pixel gap. There we go. And we added 50 pixels here on the top. Let's add 50 pixels on the bottom. All right, we're gonna hit save. And now we can preview this in our largest viewport. Okay. Good, good, good. Nice. It wraps. All right, and we can't go any smaller here by dragging, so we're just gonna click in here and we're good. This could use a little more room here. So we're going to resize our form by selecting it and setting the minimum height to 350. Let's go 400. Shift and select both of these. Center them. And this thank you message is not really going to appear. So maybe 350. And height is on auto. So looks like it's adding some bottom margin. That's where you see this right here. Let's put 20. That's fine. Okay, now we can save. And let's preview because the form is not, again, going to have that. There you go. That looks good. That's not bad. I like that. And these highlight red, we can change that color if we wanted to, but we're going to leave it. Let you know that's an invalid field or hasn't been properly filled out. All right, our menu works. Okay, cool. And now we go in here, adjust this grid, edit grid, and 20 pixels here. So now we have these both matching, everything's aligned properly, and now we can move on to the next section. In this next section, we're going to start with the grid once again, edit grid, and we're going to add column here, 100 pixels. Column here, oh, sorry. Column here of 100 pixels. And I'm also going to add this title in here, so I'm going to add a row right here. And a bottom row for this right here. I'm going to select done. I'm going to bring in this content. And I'm going to bring this in as well. select this section, delete it, select this section right here, delete it, and now we have our updated grid. Now for this, I'm going to select the stack, and I'm going to go to our inspector, left align, top align, and change this to 100%. For this as well, going to go to the stack, left align, top align, 100%, and the same here. Oh, let's see, messed up there. Now make this 100%. Okay, so content is lined up there. This, I want to go the full width of all 3 columns, and it's laying in all 3 columns, so it's reflected here in the percentage at 44. Now it's 100. And this, I'm going to center. Oops, a little buggy there. See, it looks like now it's in this gap right here, this little column. So it's at 91%, so it's reflecting, or it's aligning to this entire page. So I'm gonna do 50%, make sure we're in here. Oh, looks like we have a little bug. Let's go ahead and save and refresh and see if we can't get rid of that. All right, go to our viewport, our largest viewport, and okay, so it looks like we have a bug there. I'm just gonna go ahead and manually do this. Let's see if I can get this. Nope, not even to the middle. All right, so that's about the middle, and you know what? That's fine right there. Put this to 100%. Can we left align? Nope. All right, we're just gonna have to keep moving on. There we go. All right, and let's start resizing our content and see where it breaks or where it needs to. So let's go ahead and adjust the grid here, edit grid, change this to 50 pixels. Now, the changes that we make in this viewport are gonna be in this viewport and cascade down to the viewports below it, not going up. That's good there, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna stack this. Yeah, we're gonna stack it here. So, once we're in this viewport, let's open it up to the largest size. And here, we're gonna adjust the grid. Make this 25 pixels. All right, so we could do this a couple ways. Best way to do this is going to delete the grid and add a new grid, but let's go ahead and go through. See, it's going to add 15. Yeah, we don't want that, so we're going to undo that. We're going to adjust grid, delete grid, we're going to apply grid, and we're going to have 1 row, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's do a custom, and we're going to have 1 column, 2 column, 3 column. So 3 columns by 5 rows. Hit apply. Now let's go into our grid first, edit grid. And this we already know is going to be 25 pixels, and this is going to be 25 pixels. All right, so we have that set. Now we just want to make these a little bit larger so we can get our content in there. 500 pixels. We'll make all of these 500 pixels, except for the top and bottom ones. 500 pixels. All right. Click done. I'm gonna go ahead and save at this point. I'm I'm going to select the first or the second stack. So text, stack, grab, bring it down here. And it looks like we're missing one. Might be behind this guy. If not, yep. Okay, so learn web design, learn the tools. We're gonna fix this, don't worry guys. Let's grab learn to execute. That's our third stack, bring it down here. This is our second stack, bring it in here. All right. Open up our inspector, left align, line to top, and make this 100%. Same deal here, text, stack, left align, top align, 100%. And left align, top align, 100%. Cool. All right, gonna hit save and grab this guy. We're gonna align this to the top, the middle. Okay, good, 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 good. All right, and this, I want this to be center, line to middle. All right, now we're gonna go back to our grid, adjust the grid, edit grid, and I'm going to give this a height of auto and see that worked out good. 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 All right, we're going to add a 20 pixel gap, vertical gap right here. And that looks good. I'm going to click done, click save. I'm going to edit this text right here. Make this 30. And I believe this right here is 36. Yep, good. So that's fine. Now this last column. Auto. Done. Looks like we have a little more space than we want, and that could be because this has a set height. Remove the minimum height. And let's add a 50 pixel bottom padding here. And I guess we could add a top. Let's align this to the top. And then add a 50 pixel top padding. Change that to 0, we don't need that. Sorry, not a top padding here. It's gonna be 0. On this section, we wanna add the 50 pixel top padding. There we go. Hit save. And here, the last one we didn't do, auto, done. Save. And now let's preview this. Drag it out. Okay, it looks good there. And it looks good there. And we're all set. Just gonna check the smallest mobile size here. All right. So now, gonna add in our images. So for the sake of time, I'm gonna speed the clip up here. All I'm doing is selecting the images for this section. You can use media from Wix, which is free. They have Shutterstock available as well. Those costs are a premium, and Unsplash, which are free. And for this section, I chose all my images from Unsplash. All right, and now we have this text right here. I just want to make this blue. All right, going to adjust this grid to auto. and add our vertical 20 pixels here. Let's click save, preview it out here. Cool. We just have to add our 50 pixel padding right here. Just grid, or sorry, go here. We have the section selected, go to our padding and 50 pixels from the top. Okay, so we have our hero section and we have our section 2 done. Now let's move on to section 3. And first thing I want to do is I actually decided I want to get rid of this and go ahead and hit this to stretch it to fill the entire column. I'm going to go ahead and speed up the video while I repeat this process in the next 2 subsections. All right, next what I want to do is grab my stack here and center it. Going to align this to the middle for this viewport at least, or this breakpoint at least, and let's keep this aligned in the middle. No, stack. The width, this can be remain 80. And continue to resize. And this breakpoint, stack. Okay. Let's keep going here. Let's make sure we're keeping this in the middle. And then we break in here. All right, I'm going to stack this as well. So I'm going to click on this adjust grid, go to 1x2, and that worked out almost perfectly. Go to the stack, align, let's change it to 0. And it looks like we have a minimum height here. Let's go to 500. Actually, yeah, 450. 450, and here I would like to have this. Let's go ahead and adjust the grid actually here. And set the minimum height to 300. Let me see if we do this at 300. Yeah. Let's remove this minimum height right here. And let's just stick with the grid. The stack is selected. I want that in the middle. All right, this viewport. Edit the text. We're gonna make this 30. And we can actually apply that change in the viewport right above this, or the breakpoint above this one. This breakpoint. I believe we made this 30 as well, yep. 30 and blue. I'm gonna put 0 there and just hit these guys. Make sure we're aligned. All right, good deal. Good deal. So you can see that this didn't take effect, the blue color didn't take effect in this larger viewport because again, the changes I made were somewhere down here and they cascade down. So I'm gonna go and make that change here. text blue. I want this button blue. And blue button. Corners, 5 pixels. Text. Heading 5. And spacing is fine. Hover, we want it black. So now we have that set right there. I'm just gonna give this a little bit more margin. What do we have here? This is not showing any. This is showing 18 from the top. Oh, okay. So it looks like this is using a top margin here. So I'm gonna do 18 from the top as well here and 0. That's fine. Let's update this image as well. And for this image, I believe I went to Unsplash, change image, Unsplash. Let's try typing. That's the one. All right. And we're gonna go down here now. Now for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and speed up the video as I repeat and apply the same changes that I made in the previous subsection to these next two. I will also slow it down right here though to show you for the middle subsection how I swap locations for the image and text because of how the builder naturally stacks these items on mobile. And I do this because I prefer to keep the subsections visually consistent. One other change I make here is by updating the background color for the middle subsection from white to blue to add a break of color, but that's totally up to you. Save, preview, all right, so far so good, and our site is coming together very nice. This blue might have worked better here to break up this white actually, yeah. That's fine. And now we're going to jump into our CTA and edit this section. So I'm going to start by selecting the image. I'm going to change the image to another image. Go to Unsplash, type in YouTube here. Select that one, update. I'm going to unstretch this. Open our inspector panel with the image selected, left align and align to top, set it to 100% width. Then I'm gonna go into the crop tool here. Select the image. You can double click the image to go into crop. I'm gonna zoom the image all the way in and bring it all the way over to the left. I'm gonna close out the inspector panel. Next, I'm gonna get rid of this text here. That was duplicate text from this section, and that's been updated in the content or resource content doc. I'm going to bring this font size up to 60. All right, and then I'm going to jump into these buttons here, and once again I'm going to speed up the video just for the sake of time while I do these buttons. So now I'm going to go into the stack and going to resize. Forgot to stretch this image back out. Once we unstretched it and cropped it, we had to go back in here and hit stretch in our largest viewport. Now I'm going to resize here. Looks good. This breakpoint, it wraps to a second line. I'm going to center that. Next breakpoint looks good. And then this breakpoint, we start to have some breaking and another wrap in the heading. So I have the stack selected now. I'm going to go to 90% width. And then I'm also going to go in here, change this to 48. And then in my buttons, I'm going to want to stack my buttons here actually. I know I don't have them stacked here, but I really want to make this CTA prominent. So I'm gonna go to the grid, adjust the grid for this container, that is, and I'm gonna go a 1x2, adjust grid, edit grid, set this to auto, and this bottom column auto, and you can see it didn't take effect because there's most likely a minimum height or a set height here. I'm going to set the gap to 20 pixels to give a little room between the buttons. Go into the inspector, and yeah, I'm just gonna put this to auto and minimum height 0 right there. And now I'm going to click out of that and set this container to 90% as well. Change that fixed width 90%, not pixels. Let's try selecting it here. 90%. All right, and let's go 100% to match. All right, on our buttons, I want to change this to 100% as well. 100% here, and we can resize. Select the stack, make sure we're aligned to the middle, to the center at all times. And we're good here. I'm going to click into our smallest. All right, that looks good. And we have our mobile menu set up. Now I'm going to go into our largest breakpoint, and let's jump into the last but not least, the social bar in the master footer. I'm going to delete that and add in a different designed footer or social bar. Bring it in here. Align to center. I'm going to get rid of some social links here. Feel free to add or remove as you see fit. I'm going to click the background. I'm going to change the design, go to the paintbrush tool, and select blue. All right, so now we have our footer section all done. I'm going to click save. Everything looks good here. All right, great. So our page really came together. In our next video, we're going to go through the quality assurance process where we proof the design, go over typos, responsiveness, and all of that good stuff. If you found this video helpful, please let me know in the comments below. Hit the like button, smash that subscribe button, and be sure to ding that notification bell to find out when I release my next video. In our next video, we're going to go through the quality assurance process, so be sure to check that out, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.